Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of 10 for the Chairman. For those of you that don't know, 10 for the Chairman is where I take 10 questions from our subscribers. Our subscribers are the subset of our community that contribute money every month to allow us to do enhanced community content. So this show, other shows like Around the Verse, Bug Smashers, Shipshape, sometimes the behind the scenes videos we'll do, as well as Jump Point, which is a sort of deep dive monthly magazine that goes into how we built certain ships or certain game design processes, has fiction, talks about various parts of the universe. It's normally 50 to 70 pages in length, so it's quite hefty. But all of that's made possible by the generous contribution of subscribers. So without you guys contributing money every month, we wouldn't be able to do the insane amount of community interaction and content, because it basically pays for all the folks that sort of do all that. So thank you very much for doing that, and for that I try my best to answer 10 questions that you guys ask, not answer because that's what I do, ask about Star Citizen and Squadron 42. Let's see, little thing here, we got pretty cool, it's a Black Mamba joystick that was sent by the Zaran Dinu organization. It's the joystick's made by VKB Simpro, and I actually haven't seen these before, but they're like super cool, like very, very nice and solid, good hats. All right, very cool, and it's even got a little Star Citizen logo on it, so it's very cool. So thank you very much for that. That's pretty awesome. There's like shield on the side. There's ComStab G-Safe here, so it's been all sort of customized for Star Citizen, which is pretty damn awesome actually. So anyway, and it also comes with rudder pedals. I didn't have these up on the desk, but we haven't got these out yet. But very cool. Anyway, so I'll have to get that all hooked up. So I'm. Looks got little LEDs for missile lock and shields and all that kind of stuff. Not quite sure how the missile lock would come up, or the shields were built, but maybe that's something that you can support by doing some custom programming for it. So anyway, I just was given this just before we started shooting this, so this is kind of pretty cool. Anyway, there you go. So thank you very much for that, Zaran Dinu. All right, let's get to the questions. First question comes from Sylvok, Sylvok, who asked, one of the funding goals is alien languages. Star Citizen's aliens will be speaking their own language. Is there any progress on this? Yes, there is a progress on this. We actually, Vandal was a language, was one of the first ones we're working on, obviously quite a few of them, but Vandal we needed for Squadron 42. And so last August, when I was over in England just after Gamescom, we shot a few days with the actors playing some of the Vandal in Squadron 42, and they were speaking Vandal, and it's very cool. So we've actually got quite a few pretty good sort of foreign linguists, I mean, I don't know what you call it, but sort of made-up language linguists or whatever. But one of the person that was doing the Vandal language, has been worked on quite a few films, and apparently he's one of the foremost experts on Navi. He's not the guy that created Navi, because that was my USC professor here, but he's one of the foremost experts on it, and a bunch of other things like various Star Trek stuff like Klingon. And in fact, he's the one that coached a whole bunch of people to be Klingons in the last couple of Star Treks. So, but anyways, it was pretty cool. We sort of developed this language, which I think works quite well for the Vandal. And of course, we're doing the same for the Jean and the other stuff. So that was sort of Dave Haddock working with the various folks that be doing that. Anyway, it's cool. So we'll be moving forward on that, and you will in the near future, not the immediate near future, but you will definitely be hearing Vandal and then ultimately other alien languages. So yes, we've been moving forward on that. Okay, so next question comes from Virus1, who asked, what will we do while transiting between systems on long flights? I have a Vanguard, and while my job will be piloting, what will be my gunner have to do for long flights when he is not needed in the turret? Well, I guess it sort of depends on how long, how long you consider the transiting is, but I mean, you're aboard the ship, so I guess you can move around and stand behind you and say, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? I don't know whether ultimately we'll give you like a little virtual chess game that you can play a la like Star Wars Millennium Falcon. But we'll probably like do some goofy things like that on board the ships. I mean, the idea is that you won't be sitting in sort of quantum travel very long, because actually the things that you would spend the most time would be quantum travel when you're doing the jump thing. That would typically be a shorter period of time than, say, if you were going from one side of a solar system to another solar system. We haven't 100% determined sort of what our ratio of scales are in terms of being 100% accurate to a solar system scale and being some portion of that, like we've been discussing things like perhaps 3 hours gameplay would represent 1 full day cycle, say, in the solar system, which would basically kind of potentially would say, okay, well, maybe we want to have everything be an 8th scale. I don't know. So we haven't quite figured it out, but the idea would be that obviously it takes you real time to do the quantum travel, right, which you're doing at some fraction at the speed of light per fiction, and obviously you can't sort of shortcut it because it's a multiplayer game, so you can't sort of time dilate the way you can in a single player game where you can just sort of like fade down to black, fade up, and an hour has passed. But we also don't want to make it so you just sit there and you're like in quantum drive for like ever and it's really boring. So we're sort of juggling, and that's kind of where the scale comes in, the difference between absolutely 100% accurate, because even if you're 100% accurate traveling at 0.2 the speed of light, it would still take you quite a long time to get to somewhere like Pluto, and you probably don't want to commit that. You wouldn't want to commit that much time, hours of sitting at quantum drive to go that sort of distance. But maybe you would commit 10 minutes. I don't know. So we're sort of playing with that to see, and so we don't want to make it so long that you would kind of get bored, but we do want to make it take a bit of time. So obviously, if you want to go from a long distance haul to a short distance haul, there's a difference in time and commitment. So because it's sort of your reward for if I'm taking goods from this planet to this planet, well, I should get paid for more if I'm taking it to this planet because I've got to go twice as far and therefore take twice as long. So we're still juggling with that, but on the long flight basis, I think we would kind of, I don't know, I guess that's the whole point of flying with a buddy and entertain each other with chatter when you go. So it won't be such a solitary experience, but we're going to try to make it so it's not like strenuously long. So we're still in that process of figuring out kind of what the appropriate amounts would be, enough to make the trips worthwhile, make you sort of feel like, okay, I've done a trip, but not enough where it's just like you just spend your time sort of in boring quantum space. The next question comes from Fastball15, or actually it's Fastball115, who asks, given the level of fidelity shown in the recent Gamescom demo and the social module V0 release, I was wondering what the roadmap for developing 100 complete star systems looks like. Could you provide some idea of how star systems will be rolled out to the community in the long term? Even though you've just seen ArcCorp, we've got quite a few other locations that we've been working on, and more importantly, we've been working on what we call sort of these base architecture sets, which we've talked before. So we use this architecture style in ArcCorp that we call structuralism. So structuralism is one of I think the 5 or 6 fundamental architecture sets that we're going to have in the universe of Star Citizen. Other examples would be sort of supermodernism, which you kind of have seen in the executive sort of high-end luxury hangar. It's also kind of stuff that you would sort of see on Terra. Would have monumentalism, which would be sort of like the big edifices, big sort of huge, imposing sort of buildings that you would go like. An old version of monumentalism would be things like the Colosseum and stuff in Rome, but these sort of big, imposing, monuments of civilization. So that's monumentalism. We have sort of colonialism, which is sort of more the frontier outposts. Heroism, which is sort of this more bunker style stuff. So we have these various different styles of architecture, and they're built of modular pieces called the tier sets. And so a good example is in the Stanton system, which will be the first system that you'll be venturing around. I mean, we're putting you in the large world map in sort of a fictionalized version of Stanton. It's not really the proper Stanton. That will sort of come online separately, and then we'll just activate it. But Stanton, has sort of 4, main planets in it, and each one of the main planets is a very sort of distinct feel. So we have, you're on ArcCorp, which is, the big thing with Stanton is that the planets in this system were sold off to various corporations. So ArcCorp owns one, Hurston Dynamics owns another one, Microtech owns another one, and Crusader Industries owns another one. Crusader's the guys that build the Starliner. And so each one of those places is quite distinct. Crusader are sort of these floating buildings around the grass giant that allows them to sort of build these sort of bigger ships, not constrained so much by gravity. Then you have Hurston Dynamics, which is sort of like this industrial world, an industrial wasteland where it's like full of like smog and foundries, and I don't know, looks like something out of the beginning of Joe and the Volcano. And then we have ArcCorp, obviously, which is just sort of a whole like world covered by this city essentially, and then we have Microtech, which is they're the company behind sort of the Moby-Glass and Sim stuff, and they're on a kind of perpetually cold, snowy planet, and so they've all got very different feels to them, but they all fundamentally underneath it all use the structuralism set with some modifications and styles, so they have some sort of unique bespoke aspects for each one of those locations, but they all use this common building set, and then sort of materials and colors and stuff change out. And so the concept, one of the reasons, we're building these sets, and they're sort of interchangeable and modular, and they can build on top of each other to allow us, once we've got those building blocks in place, we should be able to deliver a lot more of these locations. So one of the first things we would deliver would be the Stanton system with these 4 different planets you can travel between and get missions and do business and trade, and then ultimately we would open up some jump gates to go to other systems. And that's kind of our plan, is that right now we're going to give you the large world map when it comes with multi-crew, and then it'll sort of be essentially a very baby version of Star Citizen. You'll be able to do a lot of the kind of things that you'll be able to do in Star Citizen, but missing a bunch of the functionality we plan, and full-time proper persistence, and being able to buy and sell stuff in game, but that'll be coming pretty soon. Being able to land and take off of the planets won't be there, but that'll be something we will be rolling in. But that will be sort of our test bed. I think I've mentioned this before, as a multi-crew. And then we'll be sort of building these systems sort of in parallel. When we have our first full one ready to go, bam, we're going to drop you in it, and then you'll be flying around the very first system, which will be Stanton. And then after that, we'll have some more systems that will come online, then we'll open up that jump point, and we'll slowly expand out. But the plan is that we're laying a lot of track with all these pieces that we're putting together, and you're going to start to see the benefit of that coming towards the end of this year and through next year, where all these pieces have sort of been built, and then it's quite quick for us to sort of lay out the environments you would land, because we're using, yes, there's a lot of crafted stuff, but we're also using a lot of sort of kind of systematic or procedural tools to populate stuff. So, there will be like, you put a bar in there, and there'll be all sorts of rules with the bar, where that like we can just populate NPCs around, and I'll know, oh, there's a bar nearby, I'll go there to have a drink after work, and then after that I'll go to my home, and we'll sort of set all that up where they all have that's what subsumption is, which was mentioned in Tony's plan, but it's basically, people would have their lives and all this other stuff that we've talked about. So that's kind of the plan. We're planning to deliver more systems. And just to let you know, when it says 100 complete star systems, we're not delivering 100 complete star systems like tomorrow or one day, because we got to a bunch of the star systems for our stretch goals, and also some of these star systems are to be explored and found. So our focus is to get the core UEE space and the surrounding systems, and those the ones that you'll see will be on the star map, which we'll be revealing and sharing and enabling on the web next month, and you will sort of have the first couple of key systems where you'll start to venture in more detail on this star map, and then the other ones will be sort of more high level, and then as we get into them, we'll sort of build them up. But that's kind of the plan, is to start one system and move our way out, and we're sort of laying a lot of the groundwork for that. So there you go. That's our plan. That's how we roll them out. Not committing to the specific dates for that though, because I've learned that issue. Okay, so next one comes from Doc Tari, who asks, I have packages and ships that currently total up to 3 VFG industrial hangars and 4 self-land hangars. Will I be able to assign them to different landing zones and systems in the PU? Yeah, I would. I mean, I think I would guess so. The mechanics of like with people having various packages. So the packages with a character would come with the packages that would come with the various whatever type of hangar. We haven't fully worked out the dynamics, but I think the intention was, especially I think we've already talked about this, is to allow someone that sort of backed us to the extent that they have that many stuff, which is, thank you very much, by the way, Dr. Ari. We would allow you to maybe sort of split that around different places on the universe. And I'm not, in terms of the mechanics, how that works, it'd be hard to say it right now. Maybe you would have sort of the ability or a chit to start on a couple of places and you can pick them. Maybe you decide not to turn the chit in, and perhaps when you come to a certain place, you say, "Oh, I'd like to, have a hangar here," and then because you still have a hangar credit, you can basically turn that in for a hangar on that location. So that is to be worked out long term, but at first term, we just want to get the hangar connected to the local environment, connected to the space, and flying around. So I would say that you probably will be able to assign them to different landing zones and systems in the PU. You may have to travel to those systems first to do that, or there could be, you have your starting location in a few places, and you could maybe pick a couple of places you could have your zone. So we haven't quite figured that detail out, but you will be able to do longer term. So there you go. All right. Next question comes from Ghost Wolf, who asks, are there any plans to have any type of supported add-ons in the game in regards to UI customization or data collection? There are quite a few of us building elaborate SimPit setups and would love to have the ability to configure additional screens for MFDs for valuable information. Yeah, I mean, so I think, this is what we're talking about, having sort of an API available from the game to allow people to sort of, maybe scrub some economy data, or also get inputs or data for secondary screens and stuff. And so longer term, yes, we've said we want to do that. So those are definitely things that would be on the list. They would not be the first up, because obviously let's get the game finished and get it done, and let everyone sort of adventure around it. But yeah, longer term we would. I mean, this is not going to be a short-term project. I mean, it hasn't really been for you guys because you've backed it and stayed with it, and obviously it's taking longer, but it's going to be much bigger and I think much better than everyone was originally thinking it was going to be, because obviously it's got it's just got a level of detail that's just going to be amazing. But it is something that longer term would commit to, and these would be exactly the sort of features once the base version's up and running that we would start to add on this extra stuff, because the more stuff that people can connect into it, the more stuff that people can sort of add their own we want to user-generated content's great, all the rest of stuff. So yes, longer term, that is something that we would put on a long-term roadmap, and in fact have some of it. We actually, I think, have already announced that we would have a second, an app that would be able to hook into, say, your mobiGlas, and you could check on an account, or arrange for a meetup with people, or transfer stuff around in system on an app. And we've definitely talked about secondary screen stuff. We'll probably do secondary screen stuff also for the high-end SciTech HOTAS that we're developing with them. So yes, long term, I think we would definitely want to create some level of kind of API for you guys, because I think it would I mean, it's amazing just what you guys managed to do without us providing any of that. So imagine what if we did provide you something like that. Okay, next question comes from Rusty Spork, who asks, will we ever be able to install a radar that gives our HUD object detection? Specifically, will there be a radar that can outline or highlight dead objects like asteroids or ship chunks? I mean, yeah, there's nothing that really stops it from doing that right now, other than the fact that we sort of made a conscious choice not to like detect every single object or entity out there, because it would clutter your radar. So I mean, I guess I'm sort of debating about this, because I'm not sure you want to fly an asteroid with 10,000 asteroids and have 10,000 signatures on your radar, because it would be a lot of noise. I think we would definitely sort of have the bigger, like, I don't know, an asteroid over a certain size or an asteroid base would show up on it, and ship chunks, and that would be basically, I mean, the system already does that, because essentially everything in space is what you call an entity. So a spaceship's an entity, asteroid's an entity, a projectile's an entity, a floating pilot would be an entity. So it's really about just filtering out what you want to see. So right now we essentially filter out everything but the spaceships and the missiles. And so, but you could have modes that say, okay, well, I want a mode where I'm just looking for downed pilots, or I'm looking for reclaimed debris, and it wouldn't be too hard for us to actually do. So I would think at some point maybe we would have those sort of scanners put in there. Like, for instance, if you're in the reclaimer and you're looking for debris, you probably would have a scanner that would look for sort of debris areas. Now maybe it won't give you a location of every piece of debris, because that'd be maybe too much, but it would say, oh, here's a concentration of debris over here, so maybe this is a good place to go and sort of reclaim some of that debris. So I guess the answer is yes, we can do it. We could do it right now. The only reason why we haven't done it right now is because we've been combat focused in Arena Commander, and obviously you care about other spaceships and missiles, and it's really about filtering out what you see and you don't see. And the question mark with it would be, asteroid field, you probably don't want to see every asteroid because it would be too much, so maybe you would set a filter to only asteroids over a certain size or whatever it would be, or only asteroids so close to you would be another way of doing it. Next question, Nick asks, will the drop of AC 2.0 Multi-Crew Mayhem see the addition of a few more maps to play in, or will the existing two be expanded? First of all, I think we're sort of starting to, well, we're not starting to, we've sort of decided that it's not really Arena Commander that we're dropping. We're dropping sort of multi-crew, which is really, we've been calling it SC Alpha for a while, but SC Alpha, as we drop with the multi-crew, will have Arena Commander inside it, it will have Star Marine inside it, it will have the social planet side inside it. Plus, you'll be playing on a brand new map. So I think I've talked about this before. It's a large world map. It's much bigger than the Arena Commander maps, which I think are limited to about 8 or 10 kilometers in diameter. And this map is hundreds of thousands or millions of kilometers in size. So it's geometrically larger by a long way. We've sort of set it in sort of it's set up to be more like the persistent universe, so it's not meant to be a simulation the way that Arena Commander itself is, and which is a bit more gamey. This you are going to basically spawn on a space station like you saw in the Gamescom demo, and you'll be able to go to different panels and say, oh, I want to pull up this ship from my account, and say you want a constellation. So then I'll say, oh, constellation is on landing pad 3, and then you can go over to landing pad 3. It will be keyed only for you to use. Once you've used it, your other friends can come and join you, and you can take off from landing pad 3. We're going to have a safe zone around the starting space station, and it'll be a space station along the lines of what you saw in Gamescom, but with more stuff and more additions. And then there will be other areas you can go and explore. So there'll be other space stations, other moons, asteroid fields. There's sort of communication satellites that you'll be able to sort of hack into and get information, and destinations you can go and fly. And there'll be areas that you can go and salvage stuff, reclaim stuff. There's a couple of there's a couple of space stations. There's some stuff that you can go and have PvP fights inside on foot, as well as flying in ships. There'll be weapons you'll be able to salvage and scavenge. So it's going to be kind of fun. It's actually going to be kind of a mini little game, and much more free form, and allow a lot of things for players to do. So yeah, it's a pretty big map. Got a lot more stuff in than any of our other stuff has. and so there'll be a fair amount of stuff for people to do. So we're kind of interested to see what happens. I mean, there'll be lots of there'll be random AI encounters you can go and find and sort of have a more single player experience. But there'll also be certain areas where it's okay to fight other players, and then you can have at it. So it's just going to be kind of a fun free-form experience. And like I said, it's sort of like our version of the test kitchen of the persistent universe, and it's where we'll start to roll out new functionality and new testing. We get mineable asteroids happening with the voxel tech we want to work on, then and put asteroids out there you could go mine, and would have that happening. You want to have a cargo mission from A to B, those things would start to happen or spawn on here. So that's what we're calling our large world map. Crusader is, I think, the name of the map. Basically, it's sort of based around the gas giant of Crusader. We'll actually probably, instead of doing new maps for this one, we'll just keep on adding points of interest, because we're on a large world map, so the thing's massive. I mean, it can be a billion kilometers, a couple billion kilometers across. So we can keep on adding new points of interest that you can quantum to. There'll be places where you can repair your ship. There'll be places where you can refuel. So yeah, big difference between Arena Commander and what we're calling SC Alpha. And then obviously we just start expanding that, because then at some point we'll let you go down and land on a planet, and then you'll be on the planet side location like you've been seeing in ArcCorp, but you're able to buy and sell stuff, and then you'll be able to take off and go to other places, and that's pretty much sort of the the basic Star Citizen game cycle, and we just keep adding more functionality, more locations, and then we'll open up to jump points and go on from there. So it's going to be cool. And we'll be giving you the first drop of SC Alpha / multi-crew. So it should be pretty cool, and we're hoping to have that ready for you sort of after CitizenCon, so end of October. So we're feeling pretty optimistic about being able to do that, but of course it's still a little ways off. So don't shoot me if something blows up or doesn't go wrong, or does go wrong. Sorry, but so far, I think. On what we've got left to do and scoping it, we think that we should be kind of on that target. But again, like I said, you're getting it raw from the source, so there's no padding in that. But definitely, you'll be playing it not far after that and having, I think, a good time. So we're pretty excited by it. So we're kind of keen to see how people are going to feel about it, because it'll just be a lot more stuff to do, and I'm sure there'll be loads of cool videos you guys will be making. And we've just got a big plan to deliver a lot of content carrying on from there onwards. Okay, next question comes from Star Swift, who asks, will voice comms be openly audible in open public spaces like bars, i.e. can I listen in for intel, and will it be possible to overhear voice comms when carrying out EWAR activities in my Sentinel or Herald? Yeah, I mean, if we have VoIP, which we do plan to have, we're going to have it diegetic, so sort of in the universe, so to speak. So, if I'm talking to Thomas, who's on the other side of the camera here, and you're sitting in over here, you will hear me situationally talk to him. I guess people could probably make sure that be careful about eavesdropping, or probably would find other communication methods to trade dastardly plots or whatever. And you will also be able to overhear, voice comms are like one of the whole points of this sort of electronic warfare kind of setup of things like the Sentinel or the Herald is all about being able to sort of intercept communication. So you'll be able to do that. And I think there'll be a certain case, like when you're flying in space and you have the comms, you can channel the comms to just be to the person you want to talk to, or you can just be broadcast a comm too, and then if you broadcast it, everyone can hear it. And of course, everyone on their side could always say, nope, I don't want to hear broadcast comms. So anyway, that's the plan. Okay, Dawn KE asks, post-release, will there be more opportunities for the modding community to develop ships similar to the next great starship and have them officially become part of the game? Could other acclaimed mods adding apparel, weapons, or environments be made part of the official game eventually? So the answer to that is absolutely, we do want to do that. I think I've said before that there will need to be a certain amount of curation to just make sure that what people build fit inside the fiction and the world, and also we have to make sure that where people are building things that make sense inside the world. Like, so for instance, someone couldn't just build a ship with 500 death guns on the front and the biggest thruster you ever seen, because that sort of wouldn't balance the game. So we're sort of thinking that perhaps we would sort of say, okay, here's an approved spec of a ship. Like it will have can have these kind of guns, it can have these kind of thrusters, it'll be about this approximate mass, this size. You, the community, come up with it, and we would, I think, maybe do that not just for ships, but perhaps guns or clothing items or other things, and then allow people to mod that and put it in, and then perhaps we could do something that would be along the lines of what Valve does on their stuff, to allow the people that create it to sort of share in the revenue from that in some form and fashion. So, but we haven't figured that out yet. But long term, it would be really great to get the community to generate a fair amount of sort of content, because it's pretty hard to keep up with everyone's consumption rates, and so we're really focused on creating sort of systematic gameplay that really feeds into what players do, and their actions sort of generate other actions and other possibilities and other missions, and that would also go into it'd be great if the community also was helping create ships or weapons or clothing items in the same way that our internal team is, because we're hoping this will be a game that goes on for a long time. There's lots of people playing it, and therefore there'll be a lot of people wanting to have all these different things, and we probably won't be able to keep up with it as well as we could if the community was helping us out. So that is our goal. There you go. All right, last question comes from Zodiac Medicia. I don't know. Zodiac Medicia. I'm going to say that. I probably mispronounced it. Sorry. During the DragonCon Q&A, Ben mentioned that the Misk Endeavor draws inspiration from the Valley Forge in the movie Silent Running. I love this movie and wonder if you have any other classic movies that we'll see homages to. You've already seen some, right? So we had the Constellation commercial, which was an absolute homage to 2001, with the very famous sort of time cut of throwing the bone up and turning into a space station, and a ship docking with a space station. I definitely think that you're going to see lots of sci-fi homages, whether it's to Star Wars, which obviously a fair number of people here are fans of, things like Battlestar Galactica, things like Firefly / Serenity, Alien, Blade Runner. You could see some of the stuff that we've been doing for ArtCorp, and you can think maybe a little bit of Blade Runner. Today I was just looking at some stuff. We were kind of playing around with some ship ideas and designs, and we're look at the Eagle in Space 1999. There will be lots of stuff out there. There's plenty of great sci-fi movies. I think there's some other stuff like I don't know if any of you guys seen Sunshine, but it's a Danny Boyle movie. It's actually quite an underrated movie, but it's really good and had a really great ship design in it. All I can say is yes, we will have quite a few homages as we go on, and it'll be kind of fun. And I think I don't know. Do it because we like it, and everyone here is sci-fi fans, and I think most of you guys are, so there you go. All right, well, that is the 10 questions for 10 for the Chairman this week. I'd like to thank all of you for listening in. I'd like to thank the subscribers that have been generously contributing to allow us to have the people to do this and take the time to do this. I'd like to thank the community in general that have backed us to make the game. It's constantly amazing me that everybody has been so supportive and allowing us to make the game of this ambition. Thank you very, very much. It's a privilege and an honor. I can tell you that everyone's working really, really hard to deliver the game of your dreams, because it's the game of our dreams, and it's going to be really cool. Obviously things take a little longer than sometimes we want, but I can see it as it comes together, and I don't think this opportunity would have ever happened anywhere else but for what happened here. It would never have happened with a publisher. It would never happen the old way. This is totally something that's happening because of a new way of how community and the people making the games can sort of come together to sort of achieve a dream. So thank you very much for allowing us to do that, giving us your trust and faith, and you will not be disappointed. You may be slightly impatient waiting for some things, but you will not definitely be disappointed. So thank you, and I will see you next week. Hey guys, thanks for watching 10 for the Chairman. If you guys would like to see more episodes, go here. If you guys would like to subscribe to our YouTube channel and always keep up to date with all our video content, go here. And if you guys would like to watch episodes of Around the Verse, go here please. And I will see you in the verse.
This video made possible by the ICC Stellar Surveyors and subscribers like you.